Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherwave.net and a very happy new year to you. It's Friday the 1st of January. Hope you had a good time yesterday. The weather doesn't seem to know that it's new year because it's continuing in the same old vein. I've got the latest month ahead from the Japanese Met Agency coming up. And you know that yesterday we put out our January ideas where we spoke about it going cooler into the middle part of the month. Still looking reasonable on that. MGO is still pointing that way. GFS not really seeing it. I think certainly the emphasis is on cooler weather and the potential for a wintry hit. And hey, isn't it just nice to think that that may just happen and there are some signals in there. As I said yesterday, they're not the strongest signals I've ever seen, but who knows? Let's wait and see what goes on, eh? And I thought that as we start the year, let's just look back at last year. This was a picture I took in the Mediterranean in July. Oh, those glorious hot days. Are you as desperate for sun now as I am? And if we can't have sun, can we at least have a little bit of snow or cold weather? I know some of you saw some frost last night. Temperatures dipped down just below freezing as predicted. So at least it was a brief taste of what winter weather should be like. Unfortunately, it's just not lasted that long, has it? And it's virtually all gone now as low pressure moves in today, bringing wind and rain. But let's just remind ourselves briefly there of what summer is like. Now, looking back at December, whilst it was wet across the UK in December, this map shows us the precipitation anomalies for December. And you notice there just how wet the UK was, those greens and blues indicating the wet weather across the UK. Notice the dry weather across central and southern parts of Europe. There, it was nowhere near as wet as across the UK. Interestingly as well, wet weather across the eastern states and across the western states as well. Wet weather across parts of South America and in northern Australia and Southeast Asia. So we weren't alone in the wet conditions through December. Looking ahead though, low pressure seems to be the theme of the coming week. I've just picked out these charts, these from weatheronline.co.uk from the GFS model, and just wanted to show you low pressure after low pressure. This is this evening's area low pressure centred towards the west of the UK, driving rain northwards. There we are again on Sunday, another area of low pressure west of the country. This rain coming in from the west, probably focused more across Wales, central and southern parts of England, but some heavy stuff for northwest England. Need to keep an eye on that for the potential for flooding. Yet another low with us on Tuesday, another one next Thursday, and just for good measure, let's throw in another one next Friday as well. Temperatures look as if they'll be slipping as well during the course of the week. This is the 850 millibar temperatures from the ECMWF, valid for London, but the charts show similar graphs across the whole of the country, and you see that fall off generally there through the next 10 days. And longer term, the CFS North Atlantic Oscillation, the NAO, slipping into a negative pattern, which we haven't seen for some time. It goes into it around about the 8th, 9th of January, so going against the thoughts of the CFS, the GFS. What it might be trying to do is to weaken that by pushing the lows further south, but it would put us into a cooler pattern. And you notice there how it stays in negative territory overall now through much of January as far as the CFS sees it. And the Arctic Oscillation, the AO, also slips quickly into negative territory around about the same date, and that's a signal for weaker westerly winds around the poles and a signal for cooler weather here. So the signals from the CFS are certainly there for something cooler going into mid-January. The operational's just not seeing it particularly. JMA kind of hints at something but doesn't want to go all the way with it. This is the forecast for week 1. So this is taking us forwards from today through until the 7th of January. And what this one is doing, it's got that strong jet there across the Atlantic. It is trying to shift it further south. Building this ridge across the eastern states, it pumps the cooler air down here. And also you notice here, the ridge trying to get going as well across central eastern parts of Russia just in here. That puts high pressure underneath and it brings in more of an easterly here, which feeds the cold air here. Now then, into week 2, so this one going from the 8th of January through until the 14th of January. What this one is trying to do is to go with the idea of this stronger ridge across the northern states in Canada, pumps in this cooler air and gets a trough into the eastern parts of the states. That then returns as a jet here across the UK with a building ridge across southern parts of Europe. But notice again, look, this ridge here across northern parts of Russia and this cross-polar flow trying to get itself established. So it keeps the unsettled weather in, but it does hint at conditions trying to change, trying to get cooler air into this region here, which in turn into weeks 3 and 4. So this one then runs from the 15th of January through until the 29th of January. It hints as a breakdown in conditions here, tries to build the heights out in the Atlantic with a weak ridge, gets a trough up towards the north, builds another ridge across southern parts of Europe and tries to get more of a northwesterly going in here. This one is, remember, this is the mean for 2 weeks, so this one is trying to get some signals of a change in there as well. I have to say that I don't think either the CFS or the GFS or even the ECMWF long ranges have it pinned down just at the moment. I think we still need to read this signal for change that's coming from the models, but I think the detail very hard to come by. All we could say is a slip into cooler weather. It certainly doesn't look anything overly wintry, but I think certainly something cooler ahead. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that for now. Of course, we'll update you throughout here at weatherweb.net. Don't forget, if you want a detailed forecast for the next couple of days, check out Fast Forecast. But for now, whatever you're doing, thanks again for watching. Enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day. Keep the sun shining, and bye for now.